Hello and good evening there, everyone. We from ISBM are so very happy to bring to you our fifth webinar. Today is a very special day for us because we have with us Aritra Dasgupta, who is from the 1113 batch and is today based in Dubai working in research and analysis for industry networks. I'll let him introduce himself and we'll take the discussion further. Good evening, Aritra.
Very good evening, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks a lot for this opportunity. It's really great to be here. Thanks for providing me this opportunity. It was the first thing that I would like to tell you. I'm alumni of Isb&M Kolkata. I have been with Isb&M since from 2011 to 2013 batch. Just a quick introduction about myself. I'll start from MBA. Before that, I have done my material science engineering from Jadavpur University, and then I had the opportunity to do MBA from Isb&M Kolkata. After that, I was basically, doing the summer internship from Frost & Sullivan. Frost & Sullivan is a US-based market consulting company. It's a management consulting, basically, company. And I got absorbed as a summer intern in Frost & Sullivan. And then I was given a pre-placement offer, as people call it PPO. And I was absorbed by the company. So I was, introduced into the world of consulting, trying to understand numbers, trying to, crunch numbers, trying to understand markets and all those things. And after that, I was looking into the Southeast Asia and the Middle East market. So from Frost & Sullivan, I had a taste of, about the Middle East market. And then I got an offer from a company called Chaos. It's also a management consulting firm. It is based in Saudi Arabia. So I got an offer there and I went to Riyadh. I worked in Riyadh for 1.5 years. I had to extensively travel all over Saudi Arabia and to other neighboring countries like Bahrain and Kuwait. And I was working in this management consulting field into different sectors like power, energy, oil, construction. And then I got a call from this company, the current company which I'm working on. It's called Industry Networks. And I got a call from this company, and I am associated with this company for now nearly 6 years. I basically, started my career with this company in 2014. I'm based currently right now in Dubai. This is a Dubai-based company. Just wanted to have a quick story about this company because, so that people will understand exactly what I do. So this is a construction intelligence company. So when I talk about construction intelligence, that means, we are trying to provide intelligence about the construction industry. So it goes back around, 16 years. Like in 2004, this company was found by our CEO, Mr. Arvind Gidwani. He found this company to keep two people gainfully employed. He has got a lot of businesses. He's basically, heading into different industries. But there were two IT or two research people who wanted to be gainfully employed, and BNC was found. At that point of time, the idea was basically the name of the company is Industry Networks. Now, people know about social networking. People know that what is a social network. But what is industry networks? Because in social network, what happens, there is a free flow of information. Like, for example, in Facebook, in Twitter, in LinkedIn, you will see that there is no control of the data that's flowing in. Now, the issue is, if there is free flow of information, it's very hard for the corporates to understand that. So there must be, in some way, you need to have structure around the data. So Industry Networks was found on the basis of this idea. So it acted as a startup. Now it's a mid-sized company and it has got, all over international clients. So what we do is that we try to take the information from the industry, structure the information, and then provide it to our clients. Now we have basically, like in principle, we are a technological company. So we have found a platform where we provide a lot of information of different construction projects, starting from conception to, like completion. So concept to design to tender to under construction and to completion. We provide all types of, like business leads through our database. And apart from that, we have created something called integrated business intelligence platform where people can exchange information, like specific to the construction industry. So we have started from construction industry because we basically eat, sleep, talk construction. So my role is basically I'm heading the research department of industry networks. What exactly I do or my team does is, like for example, we do all types of management consulting. We are sitting on a gold mine of information because we have got 14 years of data, which is collected, and then we do all types of forecasting, we do comparative analysis, we do overviews, and then we have big shots coming to us and asking, like for example, a company will come to us and ask us that I have got a plot here, I've got so much and so much plot here, what do you recommend I build here, what is your recommendation? So somebody is trying to basically, like sell something to the construction market, and they are eyeing the Middle East market. So they will come to us and they will say that, okay, what's the market size here? What do you think is the market entry, the entry barriers, exit barriers, all type of things. So this is one part of the business. Apart from that, we have this platform where there is, like construction intelligence, interchange. And then we have this lead system. So in totality, it's a very young company with a very young talent, like young people. We take a lot of interns, we work with interns, and then we also absorb, not only like we work with interns, we also absorb interns. And in that way, basically, that's the field where I am working currently.
That was nice, Aritra. And what I liked about what you were talking is then you sort of mentioned repeatedly that you got a call. You didn't actually have to put an ad in the paper saying, looking for a job. You got a call. So obviously you had established yourself in the industry as somebody who was worth his weight and he had the knowledge to cope, to deal with it. Now, we in India know what we have been through and what we are currently going through. And I'm sure that all of us would be very interested to know about the ongoing pandemic in Dubai and what were the challenges faced by individuals, by companies, and the measures taken by industry to overcome these challenges.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, ma'am. Like, when I tell you that I got a call, just, like, let me address that part only. It is also about the power of this social network that we see. So, for example, I have, like, luckily, touch wood, I've never, like, searched for a job. I got a call because, like, I updated my LinkedIn profile. And I think it's very important for all the people to understand the power of this social media. Because if a person is updating their profile just of interest, it's basically it is more or less, we have to understand that we can learn a lot of things from social media. It is not only about a job search platform where you can get a job, but it's also about like trying to get updated on the different tricks that the corporate, like the corporates or the corporate culture is imbibing right nowadays. So it is very, very important for all of us, like to understand that power. So, like I just give myself as an example, because to be honest, even for Saudi Arabia or for the UAE, I got headhunted. And I got headhunted both the times through LinkedIn. So I think it's just, like I just wanted to address that part of your statement, that it is very important for all of us to actually utilize the power of social media. It's very, very important. Now, coming to the questions, like, for example, I'm sure that there is, like the audience, and mostly the audience are from India, and they would like to understand what's going on in the different parts of the world. So, yes, obviously, I think, like in the same way or the other, I think all parts of the world has been affected by the pandemic, and that's the truth. So let's me talk about the region first, because, like what we do is that we cover the region, we cover Middle East and North Africa. as well as the Levant region. Like Levant means I'm talking about Jordan, Lebanon, Iran, Iraq, all those regions. Everywhere it has been affected by the pandemic. The region that we cover, Iran, I think has been the worst hit, because I think the Iran numbers, it has gone way higher than the other parts of the world. And I think the most important thing when you talk about Dubai, like people always think that it is Dubai. It is not only Dubai, it's the UAE, like it's the United Arab Emirates, and we have got 7 emirates in the country. Dubai is one of them. The capital emirate is also Abu Dhabi. It's not Dubai. So the entire country has been hit for sure. But and right now I saw the numbers. It's standing at around 37,000, I think. 37,000. And the most important thing that we need to understand is that not only the pandemic, it is also its indirect consequences that has hit the market. So, for example, when there is a pandemic, I think the entire world has gone to a lockdown. And if the entire world has gone to a lockdown, then nobody is driving a vehicle. So, if nobody is driving a car, then nobody is actually utilizing any oil. And if nobody is utilizing any oil, the problem is that the most important part of the Middle Eastern economy is oil. Till now they are trying to diverse their economy, but they want, like they are in that process. They have not at all, like diversed from the hydrocarbon sector. So obviously there was a dip, or there was a major dip in demand the past 2-3 months, and that has actually, the oil prices has toppled down. And it is not only that. In addition, I think people must be knowing, who follow the oil prices, who follow the oil markets or the global markets, they must be knowing that there was an oil price war which happened between Saudi Arabia and Russia in March.
Yes.
So the OPEC countries, there was an OPEC discussion. So there were OPEC countries, and Saudi Arabia requested Russia actually, to cut down production such that, the oil prices can be moderated. But then they were not able to come to a common term or common grounds. And that's why Saudi Arabia declared, instead of cutting down the production, they increased the production, and the oil prices came down. And it was so bad, I think, not only Brent, I think in April, WTI also, just toppled down. It's the first time in mankind history, the oil price was negative. I mean, negative means people who are stocking oil, they don't have the money to stock oil anymore. And they're saying, take my supplies, I will pay you. So it was so bad. But at this point in time, I'm really optimistic. And I see, like today, when I see the prices from that nightmare, oil price has bounced back. So today I see Brent standing at $42 proudly, and WTI is standing at 38. And I think the forecasts are such that by end of Q3, Brent will again go up to $70. So just like the pandemic, there has been, negativity. There has been, people understanding, people worrying what will happen in the future. But then we have again brought back at it to the normal paradigm, and we are looking to the future, which will be bright. So any which ways, talking about, or coming back to the answer to the question, or the specific question that you have asked me, Dubai was hit, the region was hit, and it is basically because of COVID, as well as of, the oil prices. And then there was one more aspect why this Middle Eastern region got more hit, is because they wanted to diverse the economy only, from oil to being one of the most important touristic places in the world. So if you see, Middle East is all about superlatives. It's about building the tallest, the highest. Even if you visit Burj Khalifa, you will see that the lift of Burj Khalifa is the fastest. So it is all about superlatives, in this part of the world. So why are they doing that? They're not only trying to keep a mark on the world, but they're also trying to attract people from all around the world to Middle East, such that, this becomes one of the most important touristic hub in the future. So that has been hit for sure, because aviation industry and the tourism industry, I think, was the worst hit. So these are the main points why Dubai and how Dubai was affected. Now, in terms of, I will talk about the measures, then we'll come to the, the challenges. You asked me in the second part of the question, that challenges faced by your industry and the measures. I will come to that. Basically, I'm coming from construction. So I'll talk about construction, but let me talk about Dubai right now, or the UAE, or the Middle East right now, what they're trying to do, like to fight this pandemic. Interestingly enough, I have seen that Dubai right now has opened up 100%. So if you see here, the gyms, the malls, the offices, they're operating at 100% capacity. And to be honest, how they are doing it? They are doing it with a lots and lots of safety regulations at place. So for example, I'll just give you an example. When I'm going to a hypermarket, like to do grocery, even, like when I am taking the vegetables, or I'm basically, like collecting the vegetables before going to the cashier, there is a person who is standing 2 meters distance away from me with a mask and the gloves on. And then once I am done, there is no rush. Nobody is thinking about the time. There is no rush. They are coming and then they're doing it in their own way. And it is basically monitored by the police as well. So that way, I think the city is basically, like keeping it very tight. And not only that, I think in India also there is a night curfew which is going on. Here
Yes,
also a night, yes. So here also a night curfew is going on. And I see that every night till morning, like from 11 o'clock in the night till 6 o'clock in the morning, I see drones flying around all around the place, and they're sterilizing. They are, like some sort of, smoky sterilizer. They are using disinfectants, and they're sterilizing the city as well. So we are not allowed to go outside as well. So I think it's mainly the safety. And one thing I would like to highlight here, which I think that it's very important, it is the discipline of the country, or it's the discipline of the people that will help us to, like stay safe, because we are all right now in the situation. It is not like that the poor people in the situation or the rich people in the situation. It's all around the place. So everyone needs to be responsible in some way or the other. So that those are the measures taken, like the highlights by the UAE government or the people. Now let me talk about the challenges that we faced as an industry, like in terms of this pandemic outbreak. So construction here is different, I will say, because construction here is very fast, construction here is very dynamic, and construction is also means quality. So one thing that, like the Middle Eastern people always keeps in mind is having a good, not only a good construction, but a quality construction. So in that way, the issue is basically the contracts are very, very monitored. So for example, when a contract is made, it takes a lot of time to make a construction contract, because the contract is supervised, is reviewed, and is changed. Because in contract, there is a lot of details going to the minor details of even the safety of the laborers here, which I think sometimes becomes a problem, because we see that there are incidents, specifically in Middle Eastern country like Qatar, where, like the human rights, they are saying that, okay, you are not taking care of the laborers. So in that way, right now, the rules have been made very stringent by the government. In making a construction contract, it is reviewed, monitored by the agencies or the authorities, and then it comes into play. So the main thing, the issue that we faced due to pandemic outbreak, that the contracts were all getting revised, because everyone knows that there will be delays. There will be delay in delivery. There will be delays in, carrying out proper work. There will be delays in the supply chain. So that's why the contracts were all revised. And there were directives by the ministries in getting the contracts revised, also with a deadline. So it is not like that the contracts will be revised for maybe 2 months, 3 months, or 4 months. There was a deadline, and there was a plan that within this time, the contracts will be revised. And then the second major issue the construction industry faced here is basically the supply chain. So it is not only because here in Dubai, most of the construction materials are not shipped from China. They are shipped from mainly Europe, so European standards. Here, the people are, using European equipments. I'm not saying that Chinese equipments are not used. Yes, there are Chinese materials, there are Chinese building equipments, but Europe, when it went to a standstill, there was an issue in the supply chain for the construction industry. So that was the second major blow. And the third blow, obviously, was the labor. So for example, when we are talking about labor, there were labor issues. So, like what happened, I've heard about it. There was a construction going on, and then, like the laborers were always tested weekly for COVID-19 or C-19. And the problem is that if someone is getting affected, then there is always a possibility that a huge mass is getting affected. So in that way, what they did is that they did severe checks, they did severe tests, and that is why, like even Dubai has opened up, but they keep doing they're like continuing to do the C19 test. They have made drive-in test centers. So right now, like last day I went to IKEA and then I went to collect something from Abu Dhabi. I was driving towards Abu Dhabi, and while you are entering Abu Dhabi, there is a drive-in C19 center. So once you pass through that, like it is automatically scanning you for C19. So there are rigorous testing, and I think it's not only the UAE, South Korea, New Zealand, Australia. If you follow the graph in the global, in the global world, what South Korea did was phenomenal. What South Korea did was that they did a lot of rigorous testing, and that's why they wanted to, like they wanted to bring out the affected. They wanted to treat the affected. So I think rigorous testing is one of the most important things for, like to combat this virus. And UAE is following the same. And that is one of the safety measures that the construction industry has also taken. So coming to measures, like I was talking about the issues of construction industry, coming to measures. So not only the safety measures that, like they have taken, it is also about, I have seen a lot of contracts getting awarded. So even during this pandemic, I have seen contracts getting awarded. And how are they getting awarded? They are getting awarded virtually. So I have seen that, like in Dubai, there is a project called Etihad Rail, because Dubai has metro, Dubai has trams, but Dubai doesn't have a public railway. So they are building one, the largest network, the largest rail network in the Middle East, which is not only going to be in the UAE. It's called the, like the GCC railway network. It will be all across the 6 countries of the Gulf: Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Dubai. So they're trying to build that. And like that, one of the most important part of it is the Etihad Rail, which is in the UAE. I saw a major contract got awarded in April. Amidst it was a major, it was like around $132 billion contract which got awarded. And that is when, like the Abu Dhabi Crown Prince signed virtually the contract sitting at home. So that means technology has given us that, like flexibility to operate even during this pandemic. So, like all types of technology measures are getting adopted. The construction industry is adopting all those measures and is moving forward. Another thing I would like to highlight is basically, like people are getting a bit worrisome that what will happen, the economy is going to crash, why there will be huge layoffs, and then there are, like there will be mass layoffs. But let me share some of my, insights. We do a lot of webinars, like when people like different people ask me, Aritra, what do you think about the market, what the market is heading to? So we are also, just like Isb&M, our company is also doing a lot of webinars with maybe C and D level executives. So when we do webinars, we generally come with poll questions. So when we come with poll questions, we generally ask them that the same question, like how do you think you are going to fight this pandemic? Because I'm sure that there has been a hit in the business, and how are you going to fight the pandemic? What are the measures you are going to take for this pandemic? And the answer that we get, the layoffs are always having the least percentage. That's the least percentage. So people are thinking of different ways. People are thinking of, like how to keep people, how to, maybe there will be, like salary cuts, but then in the bigger picture, they know that there will be a future. They know that the economy will bounce back. There will be a future. So, like in the same way, I recollect a story in the US when 2008 financial hit was there. In the US, there was a big financial company, a finance services company. And that company, like there were 2 options for the management. One, to lay off the half of the people, and to other to everyone takes a salary cut and retains the employees as a family. And they chose the second option, and then the employees were retained. So it is always not the bad way out. It is also the positive thing of the corporate culture. When people, like work in a company, they tend to think that it's a family. That is how they want to save the employees. That is because we are all right now in a situation. So I'm sure, ma'am, that there will be a shift in paradigm. I'm sure, because C19 has taught many things. C19 has taught corporates that maybe we don't need offices in some businesses. Because if you ask me, I'm basically from a technology company, and we have a flexible, like work hours where our management has told us that you can work from home if you want, or you can come to the office if you want. It's up to you. And I see that there are certain meetings, like for example, certain review meetings, certain strategy meetings. Those meetings are important to go to office and do face to face. But you don't need to go to office every day to do it. So people are understanding that thing. People are realizing that thing. So that doesn't mean that offices will be shut down and offices will be closed. It's not like that. People are coming back to offices. They will resume work, but people will be more and more, like wiser in taking those decisions as what exactly is required and what exactly is not required. And the same thing is happening for construction as well. So construction is basically trying to imbibe technology. Like for example, Mall of the Emirates, which is the second largest mall here, was built in 30 days. And that is because it was built with modular construction, prefabricated structures. So that is where you basically, and the metro, the Dubai metro was also prefabricated. So you are driving down the road, you don't see anything. The next day you are driving down the same road and you see an entire metro line with the station. So in the night, the metro station and the line was air flown, and was, was put there. So these are all the different types of technology. It's not only the
I'd
corporate.
like to share with you
Yep.
that our college building, the academic building, was built in, I think, 27 days. It was also built with that same technology.
Fantastic.
So we
Fantastic.
at ISBM do look forward and see things which will happen in the future.
Okay.
I'm so glad you're speaking so positively about the future, because disruption always brings in its wake something good. Because there will be changes, there will be developments, and these will create new careers, new jobs. So what do you think that now that we are facing this disruption, which is affecting not just individual countries, but the entire world, what do you think should be the measures adopted globally? You have talked about that the layoffs are not the answer, that we should do other things. We should be more effective in the way we look at this problem. So what do you think these could be? What measures could these be? And what do you think would be the new opportunities that the future will provide?
Okay. So coming to the first part of your question, ma'am, like for example, what are the strategies that needs to be taken on a global scale? Like according to us, because I think the first thing right now, as the virus is still there, like we are fighting it. It's not over. Safety is one of the most important thing, and we should all look towards that. It is our responsibility, and it is our responsibility as a citizen of a country to, like keep all those safety measures. It's not only about the government. It is not only about the corporates. It ultimately trickles down to the individual. So that is very important. So from there it starts. Now, going to the global scale, like in terms of business strategies, the one that I was referring to previously, like we have seen a lot of thinking right now going, like into understanding what is required, what is not required, in what way we can optimize things. So for example, I'll just give you an example. Whenever there was a business meeting, whenever there was an event, people used to catch a plane, like go to that country, have a business meeting in front, face to face, and, like try to do the deal. The same thing we can see right now here can be done through online. Even events, I think, like last day I was basically trying to do a virtual networking. There was an event held by Emir is one of the biggest event company here, who basically like hosts events for networking, and they have wonderfully inculcated technology into networking people. So I was exchanging my card with people I have not met through like through technology, through like online. So, and I was meeting that person, I was talking with him. It was just like a virtual networking. So I think online, or basically like new technology, adopting that new norm, that is going to be the most important thing on a global scale. And then the companies should try to understand on a global scale what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done, because in both the ways it's important. Because sometimes like you are at pushed at the corner of the room, and you try to learn from there that what needs what we are not doing correctly, what we need to do correctly. So I think those strategies, and I think it's across all the boardrooms right now across the globe. Everyone, all, the management, the board of directors, they are all thinking that in what way we can optimize our business. I'm not saying that there will not be any face-to-face interaction. I'm sure there will be face-to-face interaction, because face-to-face interaction is important as well. But then, what is the necessity? That necessity level needs to be worked out. The safety, the business strategy, and the new learning, whatever new learning we are trying to get. So those are the most important things that the companies, or on a global scale, should adopt to, in this world right now, in this pandemic situation, and then beyond, in order to effectively function. Because optimization and efficiency, these are the two most important words right now, which actually is surfacing because of this pandemic. So it is not only about negativity, like deaths, and it's not only about these things. You have to also see the flip side of the coin. A coin always have two sides. So we need to see the flip side. We need to see that, yes, things have surfaced up because we were not opening our eye. Now we are forced to open our eyes to those things. So those, I think, are, like the new strategies that the corporates should adopt on a global scale.
I'm glad you mentioned the words optimization and efficiency. That is really, working effectively and utilizing your resources.
Yes.
I wonder, Dubai is growing so rapidly.
Hmm.
It's really zipping along. You're saying that contracts have been delayed, but they've not been cancelled. They've just
Yes.
been delayed. So
Yes.
the growth in Dubai, the expansion is going to continue. What is Dubai doing about protecting the environment? Because, when we fly into the airport, you see these massive structures in all directions.
Yes, yes. So I'll talk a bit about it, and from there I would like to talk about the new opportunities. I think you asked me about the new opportunities as well for the, by this pandemic. So let me try to tell you about the environment friendly things. So what we do right now here, when we are talking about a construction contract, it is imperative that the construction is made in such a way that it actually adheres to the smart technologies as well as the green technologies. There are two terms, smart and green. So smart means actually trying to reduce, human work, and try to, not only that, not only, and also to increase all types of, for example, security, increase your security. When you are living in a building, how can you increase your security? And then also the term green. The green is very important because that has been going back to the nature. So right now, Dubai was a desert. I think, 30 years back, Dubai was a desert. From there, we see a complete city now. And right now, they're trying to basically work on those smart and green things. And there are councils for that. Like, for example, there is a green council. There is a smart, council where we see that, they are providing all types of rules and regulations and guidelines that the suppliers or the contractors have to adhere to. So in this way they are doing. So, and then there are, vertical farming, then there is urbanization. There was one, I would like to mention one thing. It's not only Dubai, it's the entire Middle East as well. Like, for example, let's take Saudi Arabia, for example. Saudi Arabia also wanted to diversify because they are the world's largest exporter of crude oil, and the economy is completely dependent on, oil. So now the new crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, he has come up with this vision plan, this Vision 2030 plan, where he wants to diversify the economy. And there we have charted out huge mega developments. Like, we have charted out a new city called Neom on the western frontier near Jordan. And then there is a big resort. It's one of the world's largest, going to be one of the world's largest, the Red Sea touristic development. And then there is an entertainment city which is coming up. It's a $2 billion city. It's a billion means it's a with B. $2 billion city. It's going to be an entertainment city with all types of, rides and surprises. So that's called Al Qiddiya Entertainment City. So why I'm talking about all those things? I'm talking about all those things because they are not only trying to create, concrete structure in the desert, they have also built the world's largest nursery. So they are also trying to, the environment friendly, the word that, you asked me about the environment. They are also they understand, they are trying to build a big park inside, that's called, like Mohammed bin Salman Park, in at the heart of Riyadh city, that will be just like Hyde Park in London or Central Park in New York. So they're trying to build all those things because they understand that we need to be close with the nature, not forgetting that they come from the sands, they come from the desert, and also keeping that culture also intact. So keeping that culture intact, they're trying to move forward, trying to build this, like this city where those green and smart technologies will prevail. Now, I need to tell one more thing here, like regarding the new opportunities that you told me, and like coming from construction, I would like to say something about tourism here as well, because construction is mainly here, as I told you, that the like the opportunities are from touristic places as well. So here, I don't know whether like most of the people will be knowing about the term staycation. So here we were basically, I've not seen that much in India. Maybe probably right now in India also, it's happening. But I've seen in Dubai, what happens is that we work for a week, and then on Thursday, because we have Friday and Saturday off, our weekdays are, or working days are from Sunday to Thursday. That's how the entire Middle East operate. So on Thursday night, we pack our bags and we go to, maybe, for example, in the Northern Emirate, where there are hills and mountains, and there's a fantastic resort there. We stay there for 2 nights, just unwind, and then come back on Saturday night, and then again start from Sunday morning. So this is the concept of staycation. And that is why, like right now, when the pandemic has hit, when people are thinking that how they can go, or what is in for the tourism industry, because people are thinking that the aviation industry is, like going down the drain, the tourism industry is getting affected. But we have seen a lot of surges in staycation, where people, right now the hotels have opened up, where people are, like trying to do staycation, and they have come up with a new terminology called daycation. Previously it was staycation, now it is daycation. So it is not only going for 2 days, it's just going for a day, just for safety, going for a day, staying there, enjoying there, and then coming back. So those are the new things I think everyone will adopt to, like with the pandemic, the new things, the new positive things are also there. And new opportunities, when you ask me about opportunities, because I come from a technological company, and here we use a lot of, like machine learning algorithms, artificial intelligence, in order to do all types of number crunching, and like to forecast markets, and also do media research, and many more things. So artificial intelligence or machine learning is one of the most important things that's coming up right now. It is basically one of the things that will drive our future. Now people, like there are two aspects of it. So for example, there is a some sort of a scarier part, and then there is some sort of a positive part. So if I talk about the scarier part, which I like in a quote I will say scarier, there was a story, like for example, a woman in the US bought Google Home and Alexa. So Alexa was in a different room, and Google Home was in a different room, and he asked Google Home, just to play with Google Home, Google Home, how do you like Alexa? So Google Home responded saying that I like the blue light of Alexa. Alexa was in a different room. Alexa switched on by itself and reciprocated or responded, thank you, Google Home. So that lady got scared, because she has seen two robots interacting without
That's
her asking
scary.
the question. And not only that, there are other stories as well. For example, in Facebook, it came in leaks. Basically, this news was leaked. They were trying to build a chatbot algorithm. A chatbot, like chatbots means automatically there will be a robot who will be automatically chatting with people. So that's called a chatbot. So there were, like two chatbots, and a person was trying to build an algorithm of, like a chatbot algorithm. Suddenly, he saw, or he understood, that the two chatbots were communicating with each other in a language that he was not able to understand. And then the experiment was shut down there, and it was, like made obsolete. So that is a bit of a scarier part, which talks about the Judgment Day, or like all type of Terminator movies that we see, like, which is actually,
That is very, very exciting and strange.
it's very
Lovely, lovely.
exciting and strange. So those, like I will say, that's a bit of a scarier part that right now. But then what is the positive part? Positive part is that if I talk about Dubai right now, Dubai is Fortunately, one of the countries, I think there is 5 countries in the world which has an artificial intelligence ministry. The headquarter, I think, is in Zurich, Switzerland. So Dubai has got an artificial intelligence ministry, and they are trying to build, like autonomous buses. Autonomous means I'm talking about driverless buses, driverless taxis, and like why they're trying to do it, because, and then people are somewhat scared, saying that, okay, if driverless taxis are there, where will the drivers go? Now, like what will happen to their jobs? But we need to understand the bigger picture. We need to understand that these jobs can be done by robots. These jobs, the robots can be programmed to do these jobs, but human has the mind to think. So humans can be, like the jobs will be basically to think. So in India also, because to be honest, I'm not tracking that much of Indian market right now, but yes, obviously, like I've got my family, my friends there in India also. I've seen that right now the scale has gone up. So we don't see that maybe the son of a driver, like this was quoted by Captain Raghuraman. I follow Raghuraman a lot. I will recommend all the, like the listeners to follow him as well. He's the group group president of Reliance Industries Group. He comes in a lot of TED Talks. He talks about unink, what they call unink, like the unorganized incorporation of India. So, like he mentioned that the son of a driver doesn't want to be a driver of a bigger car. He wants to own a car, and rightfully so. He has got all the rights to own a car. And it is very
Yes.
important for us to understand the future of India, because we need to actually, like help or try to assist people in getting those jobs out where people will not be doing mundane jobs, but they will be doing something with which we can make India, like much better, like a developing country. We can think of a better future. So these are, I think, like most important things. One thing I would also like to mention here when we talk about opportunities, and when I'm mentioning about this topic about, like how we can make things better, there was an experiment, I think, in a different B school, and I think that was experimented with 2 people, or two, guys, who was just an office boy, like they were having a salary of 5,000 rupees or something. They were inculcated in, or they were basically, they joined the curriculum, and they are also a part of the curriculum where they were mentored by the MBA students. So what happened is that the MBA students were there. These people were basically learning for free, but MBA students were mentoring him. And so, like at the end of the day, the very powerful speech by Mr. Raman, when he said that this people, or these 2 people ultimately, like passed MBA, was MBA, and then, went on to do jobs in a bank or in an FMCG. So they were serving the tea to Mr. Anand Mahindra, but they one day had tea with Anand Mahindra. So that is the transition, like that transition is very important for all of us, and we should all think towards that those are the opportunities, I think, which this C19 has given us to think about. Where should we go? Which are the new opportunities? How can we, like understand the world that's going to be in the future, and how can we make it much, much better to live?
So these are actually, we think of the opportunities and what the future holds, they are actually aspirational. And it is what we strive to achieve. That is what we want. Now, I'm going to ask you 2 questions about college life. I'll put them together. It might be easier for you to answer. The
Mm.
first one is, share with us your, the why I'm asking the two together is because, I know that you love traveling. I see pictures of your travel on Facebook. So I want to talk to you about travel as well. So that is why I'm putting these 2 questions together to you, to give you time for about travel as well. The first one is, share with us your experience at ISB&M. And coming from that, what do you think is the most important takeaway from the management program?
Okay. Uh, thanks,
There are
thanks.
2 questions.
Thanks for asking me. First of all, that I would any which ways would have shared it, because I think, like ISBNM has played a very important part. Like it is not only about the MBA course that I did, as I mentioned, like during my small or lengthy introduction that I gave, like that I joined ISBNM, the MBA in Marketing and Finance in 2011. And I think it was a wonderful experience with a wonderful set of colleagues, with wonderful set of professors, including Brita ma'am, Like it was really a very good experience. And not only that, I'm going to talk about the most important thing that Brita ma'am asked me about, the most important takeaway. Because people, like come alumni will always say that, okay, our college was good, our college, I did this, I did that. There's a lot of stories. Yes, obviously that's true. It's a lot of nostalgia. I still remember that tapri where we used to go for tea breaks, like all those things. Those are nostalgic things, and those are good things, like to share. But the most important thing I would like to talk about, and I would like to mention, because this is an ISBNM webinar, and I would like to tell to all the viewers who are listening to, is what, like the most important thing that I learned this 2 years. So fortunately, I was a member of the placement cell, and like ISBNM gave me that exposure, like just so that like I can fly on my own, just how like a mother bird does to their child. They like shoo them and say that, okay, you can try, you need to fly. But unless and until that show is there, a child bird will never be able to like fly. So same thing, what ISBM asked me or taught me, apart from the academics, what the most important part of the curriculum that I think that like helped me or taught me, is to how to talk with people, how to like understand people, how to understand and how to pitch, how to like understand the person you are talking, understand their psychology. And these are all practical lessons, because like ISBNM gave me that gateway where I can like interact with different people, like important people of the industries, like maybe like the director HR, or like the CEO or the managing director, where I can pitch ISBNM, I can pitch my like batch, and I can like ask for their placement, or like do this. So those are the most important things. I would like to mention 2 3 stories. I've got lots of stories, but obviously we have got constraints of time here. But I would like to mention 2 3 stories. Like for example, I still remember that was my first placement trip after I got like selected in the placement. So we went to Delhi, and then in Delhi I was doing cold calls, like, and I was trying to get meetings, because I knew that the next day I have to go for meetings. There were 2 of my colleagues, they had 3 or 4 meetings, I got none. So I was trying to get meetings the next day. So I cracked a very important like meeting. I would not name the company, but I cracked through the director HR, and he gave me 2 minutes. He told that, okay, Aritra, it's fine, you can come, in this time, I'll be there, but you have got 2 minutes. I said, fine. I went there, I sat there, waited for 1.5 hours. He was not on time, but that's fine. That's also what you learn through, like through all those things. Patience, that's important. And then when I got the audience, when I was talking with that person, I understood that he was trying to understand what I have to pitch. So he was trying to understand that what type of students you have. So what is the USP of your college? Those were the questions. And when you try to, like figure that out, when you try to read the person's mind, then you try to pitch it in that way. So I still remember I quoted this. I told him that we are not Calcutta centric. Our students are very flexible. And I quoted him saying that, sir, ships are very safe in harbor, but that's not what ships are built for. Ships are built for the ocean. So, and that's what we follow in ISBNM as well. And that is, I think, those 2 lines, I think, like bought an interview by that company. That company came, recruited 2 people as well. So, like that was one of the stories. In the same way, you have to understand that's what I got from ISBNM, like that exposure, talking to people, like you just come out of your shyness. You have to go, you have to talk, you have to network. I'm heading research, but yes, a major part of my job is also, like being a part of the head of the research team, do a business development, because client retention is there. So once the salesperson has done their job, it will come to me, and then I have to interact. So that's very important. One more story I would like to share. There was one more person that was also a big multinational company. That person was the regional HR head. And when I went there, he was very engrossed in talking about Calcutta and, like about Bengalis culture and all that. And then you talk and you start talking about it. So in that way, you basically try to understand that, okay, you are networking with that person, and then you pitch it. So it is very, very important, like as that saying goes. I still remember that story. As that saying goes, there was one lady and her husband, and that husband was going to buy a car, and that husband told the lady that, like I will today we will just go and see, and today we will not buy a car. So the time the husband stepped out to the car showroom, the salesman came forward, introduced that my name is this. It was a pleasure to have you, Mr. So and so. That person was so surprised, saying that, you know my name. He said that I just did a small homework. Like before you took an appointment, I just did a small homework on LinkedIn, and I say that you are doing this, you are doing that. And then he tried to talk about some other topics that this person was very comfortable of. And then they were talking. So by the end of the time, when they were leaving the showroom, that person said, may I show this car? This car is fantastic for you. And that person said, sold. So, like in that way, it is about how you talk with that people. And that's the learning that I've got from ISBM. It's very, very important. And I think it's one of the best things that maybe all, like Ivy League schools or the B schools or the Indian Institute of Management, they don't give that type. I have not heard, because I have got also friends, like who have graduated from those universities. But this is the most important takeaway that I've got from ISBM.
So would you say that, to achieve your goal in when you're communicating with somebody, you have to find that one particular hook and grab that man's attention? With one gentleman, it was about Calcutta. The
Yes.
other one was knowing something about him.
Yes.
To establish that one link, that is like sort of the drawbridge goes down, and you're able to cross and then make a connection with the person.
Exactly. I completely agree with it. So you have to understand the person. You have to, so it's not only about talking or introducing yourself. You have to understand, you have to let that person talk. You need to also listen to that person and then try to, like pitch in such a way that that person is ultimately, like you are not trying to directly sell a product, but that product is already sold. So in that way, you have to do that. And those are the things that comes, like those are the teachings that doesn't come through any books. They will never come through an MBA book. They will never come through. That comes through a curriculum which actually helps you to go out in the market, interact with people, and like just let go of your shy character. And I think ISBM did a wonderful job in ISBM Kolkata did a wonderful job to help us in achieving this type of a curriculum. It's very, very important.
Aritra, I'm going to read out a question for you from Gorky Mukherjee, who says that as a researcher, what, according to your perception, is the expectation from a young manager of the clients? What is the client looking for in a young manager?
To be honest, right now, the most important thing that the clients look into for a young manager is adaptability. That's the most important thing, because exactly this question, it's a very good question. And this question, I was a part of that forum where, like that question was asked. And it is mainly the adaptability. It is adaptability because right now we are going through a lot of changes. So it's not only about like adaptability, creativity, innovation. Those are the most important things that a person looks into for a new researcher. So you may try to do things in your own way, or you may try to do things in the like old age ways, like like all types of algorithms. But you have to think. You have the tools at your disposal. You have the software at your disposal. But my friend, it's again the same thing I will tell about. Artificial intelligence is not about like taking a job, it's transforming a job. Similarly, in your career, you also need to think that when you are a manager, when you are trying to manage a team, or when you're trying to manage a project, what innovation you are bringing to the table and how you're adapting to that environment. So those are the two most important things. You always need to think in a smart way, so that the clients will, like try to, okay, say that, okay, these are the most important things that we want to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. But this 1, 2, 3, 4 things can also be optimized in doing only two things. So those are the, like the things that the clients would be looking for in a young manager.
There is another question for you, which had come in earlier from the same gentleman. What skills that which you had learned earlier in a B school did you have to unlearn?
Did you have to unlearn?
Yes.
To be honest, like I will say learning and unlearning is a process. So unlearning sometimes doesn't necessarily means you have to unlearn stuff. Like for example, I'll just give you an example. When we are talking about presentation, like PPT, we learn a lot of things on how to present, how to do, and how to do that stuff. But technology is so fast, you need to adopt and you need to evolve. So right now we don't use, like for example, our company uses a completely different type of a software, like to present, because we are presenting analytics, we are working in that big data framework. So you are not working in that way that you have learned in the B school on how to present. So I will not say it's an unlearning thing, it's not about unlearning, but then you try to adopt in the new technologies that's coming right now in the world, and you have to evolve in that. So in that way, I will say that, like certain things that maybe we have learned from our B school or maybe from our engineering, like universities, that may have been overridden by the new technologies that we have to learn and evolve.
So it's not really a question of unlearning and relearning, it's a question of constant learning to keep up with changing trends.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree to that.
Now I come to the question that I am going to enjoy more than anything else, which is about the importance of travel.
Yeah.
I know that you have traveled a lot. One
Yeah.
is to travel just for pleasure. I'm sure that is there always. But what have you learned? What have you observed? What have you seen? And how has that helped you in a better understanding of human beings and relationships?
Yeah, and I think I'm glad that you have asked me that question, because to be honest with you, traveling is something that's in my genes, and I would like to explore different, like people, different culture. And to be honest, the one line answer to that question, that why to travel? I think a person who travels, is person who's exposed to different cultures, a person who meets different people, a person who interacts with different people, the mind opens. That's the most important things. It is the transition of a close-minded person to an open-minded person. And I've seen it with my own life, because we have seen that, whatever we have read from the books, whatever stories we have read, we think that that's all going to be true, instead of experiencing it. What I have done, when I came to the Middle East, even before that, I used to travel a lot. Even before, when I was stationed in Calcutta, I used to travel to the mountains, to different states of India, and try to do that. I would recommend each and everyone for to travel, and it is not. It's a wrong perception that it's always that you need to have deep pockets to travel. It's not like that. Like when I interacted with Europeans, for example, when I interacted with Americans, for example, I've got so many friends from those communities, and I've seen that they have it in there that once they finish high school, they need to high school or graduation, they will work for 2 years, then take a break for one and a half
Yeah,
year.
the gap year.
Yeah, they will travel the world. And why do they do that? They travel the world, and they are not only traveling for pleasure. It's not that they are traveling, staying in a five-star resort, and it's not only that they are traveling, maybe staying in a shack, but they are traveling, they are working there. Even there, I've seen that people are working, making money, and then traveling. I'm just reading a new book right now, The Shoe Dog. It's about the founder of Nike. I will recommend everyone to read that book. And that person as well has traveled the same way, and that he wanted to travel to Japan at that point of time, because he knew that Japan had a very good technology in making shoes, which was unknown to the world. And then when he went to Japan, he cracked this deal with a company which was not formed. He went back to US, formed that company. Now that company is called Nike, which is one of the most, it's a multi-billion-dollar company in the world. So I think every travel has a story. Everyone should travel. Everyone should be open-minded, because it's very important for all of us to learn from our travels. Like, for example, I'll just give examples. When I travel, like I went to Singapore. Singapore is one of the most developed countries in the world. Like when you see Singapore, you see high rises, you see clean streets, and you see the, like the good part of the country, and you think, oh my God, it's a fantastic country. It is a fantastic country. And I think Dubai has, copied Singapore in some parts of the other, in terms of management, road management, all that. But when I was, packing my bags and going out from my hotel, the taxi driver, that person was 72 years old. And I was asking that person that, why are you working? And he said that the issue is basically, there is no pension plan for the old people here. It's a plan for the new country or the new people, the new generation, and old people are a bit suffering there. So that was something that I learned from there. I traveled to Georgia, and I learned that Georgia was the birthplace of wine, where I always thought that, like Europe was the birthplace of wine, and they claimed that, and they showed me the winemaking process in Georgia. So, like you get to know all those things. So I would like to tell one more thing. It's not only about travel, it's about learning. So you have to keep your ears and eyes open while you travel, or in your daily, daily activities. You have to keep your ears and eyes open. I will just, give one example, one short example. This is also by Captain Raghuraman, a short story about learning management tricks from the streets of India. So it is just like Mr. Raghuraman has, gone to Pragati Maidan in Delhi, where all the events take place, with one of his friends who is a CEO of a different company. So now this CEO has gone, and there was a Delhi team. And as he has gone to Delhi, he wanted to meet the team there. So he's standing there, and then there is the Delhi team. There are 7, 8 people talking with him. And he's talking with them. And then suddenly Mr. Raman noticed that a urchin, a beggar, a small kid, he ran into, and he was, appealing for money, begging for money. So, that person, that CEO was trying to shoo him away, tried one time, and then he came back again. Second time, he came back again. And then after 3, 4 times, he got so much irritated, he started to look for changes. And what happened automatically, the people in front, they wanted to impress the CEO. They started to look for changes as well. And they all, gave the coins to the CEO, and the CEO took one coin from that and gave it to the boy. That was a 5 rupee coin. And that boy basically took the coin, and Mr. Raman was noticing that boy just went. There were other boys who also wanted to snatch away the money, but he didn't give it. He went straight to the corner, and there was another kid there, and Mr. Raman said that maybe it was his younger brother, and he showed him the coin and told him, see, you see that crowd there, go there and beg again, you will get more money. And he basically, nagged him there. Now, there are 3 important management lessons, like what he says. And that is a part of learning. That is a part of how we look at the world. So if you see, the first thing is persistence. So whenever that little boy was shooed away, he knew that there will be something or the other from this, crowd. So he was persistent in his act. He came back again and again. The second thing was that he was speaking to the decision maker. He was not speaking to anybody else. Although the money came from a different person, it doesn't matter. He was speaking to the decision maker. He knew that this is the CEO, this is a man of great importance, and he will give him the money. And the third is the most important thing, that's the customer relationship. Once he got the money, he didn't announce it. He didn't want a party. He didn't do anything. He went straight back to his team and said that there is more money to be taken from this team. Go and get your money. So, these are small examples, very, very small examples. And why I'm giving these examples, when you travel, when you start to, open your mind, it is not about the, the landscapes, or not about the sceneries and all those things. It is about, trying to understand the world, trying to understand how world functions, trying to understand how you will learn new things by, looking at it. So it comes from the streets of India as well. It comes from everywhere, be it Georgia, Singapore, Australia, US, India, everywhere. So I think I will recommend that to everybody. And I think traveling is one of the most important things that everyone should do, according to me.
But it's quite amazing that, even a child, if he is empathetic, sensitive enough, if he has those inbuilt qualities, he can actually target the person whom he should speak to.
Absolutely.
And this is actually an instinctive skill which we need to develop as future managers. It's very, very important in communication.
Absolutely.
Now, let me just check. I think that is about it. But Aritra, it's been such a pleasure talking to you. And thank you for sparing your time with us. I remember very vividly when you went for your first internship and you were very nearly hijacked. I think the company did sort of succeed in doing so. And they sort of began you on your road to growth, development, fun, enjoyment. You found your wife also in the college, Disha. I'd like to mention her here as well.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's been
yeah.
such a pleasure talking to you. And it's very important that students hear from ex-students, the alumni members, what it is that you can learn from a business college, not just from the course, because that you could even get by reading the books, but it is the extra things
Yes.
that add meat, flavor, and weight to your growth. And
I
that is what I'm sure they've been able to gather that from you. Thank you once again. And thank you all the viewers, and thank you for sharing your time with us.
I would like to thank you, ma'am, and thank ISB&M, for providing me this opportunity. And I wish every student of ISB&M and to all the listeners a very, very good evening and a good day. And, thanks once again for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.